What is going on, folks? CJ here alongside my friend Sam. What's going on, sir?
Hey, what's going on? You probably hear a little baby in the background, but yeah, what's going on, guys?
Sam and baby. Nothing much, man. So we're here for a little bit of a comic corner real quick, talking about this Spider-Man MCU business that popped off Friday. It's pretty kind of interesting that this actually happened as quick as it did, because I was expecting it to kind of linger into next year, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured they were going to at least at the, I always said at the outset when that news broke out about them not coming to an agreement, I always said at the outset, at the very least, I feel the MCU Spider-Man should at least get one more movie to kind of round itself out as a trilogy, at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think them making this deal, I think this was Sony's way of like, all right, fine, we'll make the deal. And I also think this is a way that I think the movie's actually going to make more money than Far From Home did now.
It has the capacity to.
Speculation and all that stuff, like, oh, it's the last ride of Spider-Man. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, the capacity is definitely there for the most part and stuff. I mean, we figured they were going to make some sort of deal at some point, or at the very least, probably just bounce and just do their own thing and stuff, because clearly Disney looked unbothered by the whole debacle to a point. So, well, at least that's what was presented to us at the very least.
Yeah, I was about to say, they definitely had a brave poker face, but the perception of everybody was like, okay, you did so much to get this character back, and now you're saying, well, we kind of thought it wasn't going to last that long. We just were riding it as long as we could. Like, man, get out of here, that trash.
I mean, I'll be real. I'll say this. I think Disney, when that initial thing would happen, right? I think Disney was just like, look, we did our thing with Spider-Man, but we're not 100% ride or die with the character, right? Like, oh, hey, we did our Spider-Man thing, cool, fine, but we're still doing our thing. I think the D23 presentation showed that they were willing, like, hey, look, we got other characters, we can move on. Clearly, I think on Sony's end, they basically were like, hey, look, we'll take our ball and keep it moving and such. And they were willing to just say, hey, if we do a third movie, we'll do a third movie, despite the fact that at the time, John Watts wasn't signed for a third movie, and Tom Holland was like, well, I'm willing to see whatever Sony's going to cook up. We'll do it, So it was a lot of speculation, but I think everybody, for the most part, were just like relegated to, well, it is what it is. What can you do? So the fact that they came up with this deal now is like, oh, so they get one more Spider-Man movie plus another unknown appearance in another movie, which I would lean maybe towards Doctor Strange in that multiverse movie, possibly, but I could be wrong. So, I know I saw your video that you did on your on the deal and stuff like that. So I guess quick thing for what was your thoughts on the whole deal?
So, I mean, I think anybody that's a Spider-Man or comic book fan, regardless of, if you're pro Sony, pro Marvel, Disney, I mean, I think we were all unanimously, like, heartbroken that, this character may just be with Sony for the next 5 to 10 years, and that Tom Holland potentially would never come back to the MCU. And it was just really saddening to me. But at the same exact time, there was a part of me that was kind of like, there's no way that they can just not negotiate this based on money. It's just way too much money on the table to be had to sit there and not try to come back to some kind of result. I just thought, like, kind of like you said, that, something would be presented back in like 2021, then they'll push the release date to like Spider-Man 4 to 2022 or something like that, and then go from there, But when I got the news this morning, I didn't even know like the semblance of the actual deal. I was just like, yes, let's go. I was so excited. I sent like a little video to people, and people were like, man, I've never seen you this happy. One of my friends was like, I ain't seen you this happy since you had your first son. And so maybe for me, when I first got like the actual news, that I think it was like 5% on the table, initially same deal, that he would only come back for one movie. I thought that was really dope. I mean, at least he gets kind of like you said, like some kind of closeout before they transition him to like his own stuff with whatever Sony's doing. But then like it got changed to like 25%, and then it was like, okay, now you got two different movies. That one's Marvel's going to be producing a Spider-Man specific movie, and then potentially a Marvel like chain up. Probably going to be Secret Avengers, which would be amazing, or Secret Wars. But either way, I'm very excited for it. But at the same exact time, if this is, you know, Tom Holland or Spider-Man's last hurrah, I'm at least glad that, you know, Disney had the fortitude to appease the fans that have been there through this whole entire excursion. Regardless of what you think about who was at fault, Sony or Marvel, I'm glad that Marvel folded to do what they needed to do to appease the fans. Because that's the same kind of situation to me with James Gunn. It was kind of like half the cast was like, I'm going to quit, forget this. Or at least Dave Bautista was one of those ones. But, I mean, he was a strong advocate to be like, you know what, he did this 10 years prior, like, I know this is wrong, but let him at least finish what he started. And that's kind of, to me, in the same vein with Tom Holland and Spider-Man and Sony merger to try to go and make these Spider-Man run, you know what I'm saying? So I think that, you know, to be fair, they were like, all right, let's just finish this out. Now, I speculate after maybe we get to close to like 2025, they're going to renegotiate another deal. It's just way too much money
the first case is, here's the thing, here's my speculation, all right? So, I know Sony is in a position to where they can inherently just take Spider-Man and do whatever and stuff. There's rumors out there, and I don't know whether it's legit rumors or just fan speculation and such, that they want to put Tom Holland into the Spider-Verse movies and stuff. Which, you know, and it's baffling to me because, like, I would have thought Sony would have fast-tracked some of the Into the Spider-Verse stuff that they did. Because I remember when that movie dropped, they were like, oh, man, we're going to do some Gwen Stacy stuff, you know, Spider-Gwen stuff. We're going to do more Miles. And I'm like, all right, cool, but are y'all going to announce it? And it boggles my mind, and maybe Sony does have a plan. I don't know. It boggles my mind because they're so wrapped up on the Tom Holland stuff, but it's like, dog, you have all this stuff on your animated side that you can keep going. I mean, hell, you hinted at Spider-Man 2099 being a thing. You know, and it just boggles my mind that they're so wrapped up on trying to do, oh, we're going to do Morbius. We're going to do a Madam Web movie, which I'm like, okay, I guess you do Madam Web. Okay. But, like, they're wrapped up in trying to do this, and I heard the rumors of, like I said, Tom Holland and Spider-Verse, which would be dope. That would be interesting and stuff. But it's so much stuff, and it's just, I just want Sony to, like, sit down, tell us, okay, here's what we want to do. And I think that's probably my frustration with Sony. It's less about them owning Spider-Man, but a little like, all right, guys, can you give us a concrete, like, okay, this is what we're going to do going forward instead of just throwing stuff at the wall. I remember at one point we were supposed to get a silver and black movie from Gina Blythewood, right?
Yep.
Didn't happen, and it just felt like it was an empty announcement for no reason.
Yep.
You know, and it just, I don't know, it just bugged me a little bit. So this deal, I'm glad both sides came to agreement. What was funny and was missing in all this is that, so Disney gets 25%, but they also get an extra 5% because most people kind of didn't look at this deal that apparently Disney inked a distribution deal with the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they get a bit of a cut on that as well.
Yeah, they're getting some on the back end. And I have a huge theory about this, to be quite honest with you. Hold on, let me get my son out of this chair. Okay, buddy. Okay, I got you. So, my theory is that initially the whole Sony leak, that tarnished any kind of public perception of their credibility, whether it be the IP of Spider-Man or anything else, whether it be MIB, like people's perception of them was just so messed up. So I think that they had like a reformation of how they were going to do things. And I think personally, when it comes to Morbius, when it comes to Madam Web, when it comes to Venom, all this is to create IPs that would be like, for Marvel, it's like, okay, we're already in bed with you here. You already got a Blade. We've got a Morbius. We've already got, a Spider-Man that works tandem with yours. Here's a Venom. You already have a Doctor Strange multi-universe situation. So here's Madam Web. Here's her connection so we can tie this into Spider-Verse as a whole. I think that the only reason why they're even mentioning these things, because it's not like, fans want to see this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more so, I think, to create IPs to cater to what the big fans want, which is this connection. And I think that the only reason why you would have a Morbius if you want to see a Blade and a Morbius connection. The only reason why you want to have a Madam Web situation is you want a Doctor Strange and a tie-in with the Spider-Verse. And I personally believe that after they get to the point of Spider-Man 4, he's going to go, it's not even going to be a need for him to be in MCU because he's going to be going to so many different universe situations when it comes to the Spider-Verse. I really do think that that's where they're going to be presenting everything. And it's going to change the game. I just think that Sony's being real hush-hush about it because technically they have all the cards to lose. Technically, Disney could be like, you know what? I'm buying you today.
Well, they can't. Well, because they can't. Because you remember, there's actually what's funny is there's another company that's actually seeking to buy the Sony film division. I believe I forgot which company it is. We're not really buy them out so much as to kind of absorb them. And if that happens, Sony the Spider-Man rights basically automatically revert back over to Disney. God, hold up, which company? Hold up. I think it's Apple. Hello?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Apple's trying to get Sony Pictures.
Plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Apple's trying to get Sony Pictures, and I mean, look, we all know Apple got like the law money. They got the money to do that. So if that happens, Spider-Man actually will end up reverting back over to Disney. Which means that all that shit is nixed, which I'm assuming that might be why Sony is trying to get all this stuff happening.
Yeah. I think that would be interesting. Like because the Apple Plus, it ain't nothing to play with. Like some of those shows that they got look movie quality. And if like they merged in with Sony, kind of like with what T-Mobile did with Sprint, bro, it would be a force to be reckoned with, for real.
Yeah. All right, cool. But yeah, it was just funny seeing the general reaction from everybody, like, oh my god, we won. And I think the one thing that people got to realize about this deal, I think there was a lot of sites that kind of misjudged this and stuff, and maybe it's because they just think they're going to come back together again and stuff. A lot of sites seem to think that this means that, Spider-Man is back for even more pictures, even though it's just for one solo and one unknown movie. But it's like you say, I think they are going to come back to the table because I gotta be honest, if Sony's looking at what's happening right now, it's like, Marvel's getting the X-Men and Fantastic Four back, and Spider-Man has had interaction with both parties. We kind of want to get in on that too.
Yeah.
You know, and it is kind of one of those mutual things and stuff, and you take that, you factor that, and also the impending, if this Apple thing actually does pop off the way it does and stuff. I mean, it's a lot of stuff here with Spider-Man that comes in there, but I was just kind of just sitting back like they're doing a Madam Web movie, and for those that don't know, okay, so Madam Web is a character that functions more as a character piece for Spider-Man than an actual solo film. Now,
exactly.
Now there have been other Madam Webs. One in particular, I believe, is Arachnid in the comics ends up becoming Madam Web, and she ends up having her powers and stuff. But none of her powers grants interdimensional travel, so to speak. Now in the '90s Spider-Man cartoon, you had Madam Web, who they changed up and had her powers kind of like the Beyonder, where she can travel and do all this sort of thing. But in the comics, nah. Only at most, I think she had like kind of clairvoyant powers and basically psionic powers, so to speak. You know.
Yeah.
And that's when she ended up giving her abilities over to Julia Carpenter, a.k.a. Arachnid and stuff. But it's kind of weird. It's like you're doing a movie based off her, and I'm like, okay, so what exactly is this going to function as? Is this going to function as a branch into getting Spider-Man into that thing? Who knows, you know? So it's...
I feel like it's no way it can't be, because one of the biggest things about, the Spider-Man, the animated series that happened was the Secret Wars. Like her inclusion of testing Spider-Man, getting to this point working with the Beyonder because he started losing his powers.
Yeah.
And then it was like Spider-Man needed to do this to platform him to the next level. And so it's got to be, there's no way, there's no story there with her just by herself. There's just none. And it's kind of like, you know, part of the reason why the Eternals movie is happening, and Marvel has said it, is because they want to platform, you know, the inclusion of the mutant gene. Like, what happened with this? How are we just going to all of a sudden have mutants?
Because people don't realize too, the Eternals is the reason why we have mutants. And that's why I said if you want to kind of read up on Eternals, I suggest Neil Gaiman's run on the Eternals, because that gives a basic overview of the world, because the Eternals and the Celestials, they're the reason why the Marvel U is what it is. They're the reason why we have Inhumans and the Kree and stuff. They're the reason why mutants exist. They're the reason why that superhuman enhanced gene is in a lot of human beings and stuff. I mean, it's a reason why Banner didn't die of radiation poisoning and he just became the Hulk. Because basically the Eternals basically fucked with mankind to imprint all that kind of stuff happening and stuff. And they've been the machinations behind the Marvel U itself and stuff. It's a huge, long drawn out history that I suggest reading comics, and hell, you can go to Comics Explained, because he does a pretty good job of breaking down the nuts and bolts of it all. But yeah, it's a lot, man. And like you said, the Eternals this is their way of getting mutants in, and you know, but yeah, this is definitely there. And I thought it was funny that Tom Holland's response was on Twitter about he was on Instagram where he put up that thing for Wolf of Wall Street saying, "I'm not leaving." I'm not leaving. And I'm like, okay. So, and Zendaya put up a dancing Spider-Man gif. So clearly all of them were kind of waiting to see how it all plays out and stuff. And so, yeah,
they were being very diplomatic about it. Now, the one thing that I have a problem with all this is that, what's my man, Bob Iger, he sent this message on Twitter, was it yesterday around 7:37, and basically said this: Disney/Sony at Spider-Man feud ends. Kevin Feige to produce sequel! ! This certainly warms my heart. Thank you at Sony! And I'm like, he didn't have to do that. Like, he didn't have to even message that. Like, matter of fact, it seems really petty, because if you want to talk about feud ends, this could have easily been nullified months ago. It was just, you're like, you know what? You're either going to put up, or shut up, or sit down. And like, Sony was like, I call your bluff, regardless if we suck or not. And it's like, he didn't have to put that up there. And I was kind of like, bro, like, what kind of politics is really going on in the backfold that he has audacity to even make this tweet? So I'm kind of like a little worried, but at the same as that time, it's very exciting at the same time, right, buddy? Yeah. So, yeah, because the CEO of Sony was like, man, bump it, like, shoot, we winning out here, and he was just all cold and desolate. And then Iger was like, you know what? Well, I'm gonna spin this. So we'll see. I am excited that he's coming back. I am excited that he has another hurrah to be able to do things. I do think this is all going to be a culmination of Secret Wars. There's no way it's not going to be, because they, at this point, will have everybody. This will be the only thing that I could see that they could top.
It's a lot of build-up towards Secret Wars, man, because it's like, to me, I think the play that Marvel is doing, and I think it's smart, the play is, you don't have to sit there and go big like Endgame.
Exactly.
I think that's what people expect. And to me, it was funny, a lot of people sit there and say, well, how are you going to top Endgame? By not trying to be like Endgame.
Exactly.
Oh, we don't have an Avengers film. Do you really need an Avengers film every year? Maybe. And I mean, could they change up? Sure. But to me, I think it's a situation of, if you do an Avengers movie, it has to work to the degree that you want it to work, instead of just forcing an Avengers thing. It's like I said, Spider-Man being part of, I think it's getting released in, 2021?
Yeah, now it's going to be released in 2021. I mean, regardless, it's going to be released in 2021, but then they're also going to be doing Spider-Man 4. But it's like, Spider-Man 4 might end up being something completely different now. Because the speculation was, okay, you know, he's going to show up after the Venom movie to be like a Maximum Carnage situation. But now what they could do and what they should do is put Tom Holland in Venom 2 as a cameo or some kind of inclusion, you know, tie up loose ends for Spider-Man 3. And then by the time we get to Spider-Man 4, we should start going into a whole different route. And I don't know what that's going to be, because we don't even know where Marvel's going. We quite honest, because this whole Phase 4 is the first time that I've ever seen a franchise in tandem work stuff on the TV side and the movie side simultaneously, and they all are merged together. Like, this is amazing, to be quite honest.
And that's why everything works the way it works, because it's like the unknown. Because like I said, we knew in Phase 1, after Avengers 1, Thanos, which meant that Thanos was going to pop up as the end game to it all, which it obviously did. And now, I mean, hell, I said it years ago, after Infinity War or whatever this thing with Thanos, we're in the great unknown now. Yep. I think that's where all this assumptions and all this is coming from, is we don't know anything now, which I think is great, because now it's like, all right, where did X-Men figure into this? Where's the Fantastic Four figure into this? Well, we'll see later, years down the road, obviously, because they don't want to sit there and front end on this stuff. And like I said, right now, with the way they have their slate set up, they're good. You know, some people are feeling some sort of way that, Spider-Man is 2021, but Black Panther 2022. And I'm like, I think there's something bigger at play here with Black Panther 2.
There absolutely is. And not just that, we don't even know if Blade is going to be a series, or if he's going to be a movie, or if he's going to be both.
They never even specified. Didn't even specify. I was like,
they just said that he's going to be in Phase 5. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is Phase 5? Like, we don't know.
We don't know. And that's where it all comes down to. I'm just sitting back like, okay. Ooh. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's definitely wild. Question: have you been reading the House of X, Power of X books?
Man, I want to read that and Absolute Carnage, and I ain't been reading neither one of them, man. I've heard amazing things.
It is okay. So I give people the quick break by break of it to a point. So basically, this is Jonathan Hickman breaking down the X-Men to its core, like kind of just everything, like what you know about the X-Men and some new additions, and also his usual way of deep cuts. I'm pretty sure you've read a lot of Hickman stuff like Fantastic Four and the Avengers, New Avengers books, and Secret Warriors and stuff. So he has a way of doing a lot of deep cuts, and what he's done so far is two more issues left of the series. I think it's one more issue of House of X and one more issue of Power of X. Is that he's done a lot of changes that doesn't necessarily hurt the history of the X-Men. And more than anything, it changes certain things of what you thought of the X-Men. Like, for instance, this is mild spoilers and stuff. So, Moira McTaggart, we know her as the resident scientist of mutants and stuff, right? So we found out that Moira McTaggart is a mutant herself, in that she actually has had multiple lives. So essentially, this is like around the second issue they dropped that bomb. So basically, Moira, whenever she dies, her essence she ends up getting reincarnated back to the beginning. And that plays a part in how she ends up meeting up with Xavier and Magneto, and it shapes sort of the future of how things going to go forward with the mutants. Because basically, the mutants are trying to establish their own country of Krakoa, and they have their own language, Krakoan language. They have like their own land and everything. They're basically kind of like the equivalent to you remember Magneto's Asteroid M, and kind of like their own Genosha, so to speak. You know, and it's been fucking just great. It has been phenomenal. Like, it has been wild. Like you said, since they got 2 issues left and stuff, I'm pretty sure you'll jump on that. Definitely check that out and stuff. I'm still behind on that Carnage book and stuff, because I'm still reading. Was it the what the heck's that the event is just the Chaos thing or whatever. Damn. What was it? War to Chaos, War to Magic, whatever and stuff they're dealing with.
Oh yeah. Where everybody, yeah, I know exactly.
I'm still like reading that and stuff. I'm catching up with that because House and Power of X was like catching my attention more so than other books and stuff. And I need to read. I also read that J.J. Abrams Spider-Man book, the first issue. It's alright.
How was it?
It's alright. The basis of it is that Peter and Mary Jane have a son who has his powers and such. And some event happened to where Mary Jane died, and there's somebody behind the scenes that's trying to basically, I guess, get after Spider-Man and stuff and his son. And yeah, it's interesting so far. I need to reread it again and catch some certain things and stuff. So that's there. So they've been ramping up big time on this Crisis on Infinite Earths show.
Oh yeah, they have, dude. That could be its own video right there. Like, if you
I mean, it's not enough that we're getting, freaking Batman himself, freaking
Kevin
Conroy coming back as Old Man Bruce, and he's actually going to wear a Batman suit, which solidifies the fact that we can finally de facto call him the best Batman ever. That's just how it is. But the fact that they got Brandon Routh looking like Kingdom Come Superman, like,
bro, that suit might be my favorite Superman suit that they've.
I feel this is like it's not enough that he got to come up being on Legends of Tomorrow, being, Adam, and all that stuff. And I thought that was dope that he got a second kind of run in that. But I think this is the big come up right here. Like, he got the gray sideburns and everything. Like, he looks like Kingdom Come Superman. And I'm like, oh my god, this is like phenomenal and great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're getting Tom Welling back as Smallville Superman, which I think is phenomenal and great too. Alongside what's her face?
I'm so geeking out about that. Oh my gosh.
So what's her face playing Lois in that
Erica
show too?
Durant.
Yeah, Erica Durant. They both look the same. I mean, that's it is crazy. They're bringing back Homegirl from that horrible Birds of Prey TV show, but
was that Ashley Scott? That was her name?
Ashley Scott. She was Huntress. They did a lot of changes in that show. That was very, very weird.
Yeah.
So they're bringing her back. It looks like it's going to be a wild show. I mean, there's also rumors of Homegirl coming back as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think she's a go. I think that they're gonna for real
put her in the suit and everything, man.
Yeah, I think they are, and I think that they're gonna bring Mark Hamill back too, because he's been in there too much them not to bring him back. They're gonna bring him back as Joker.
I think it's gonna be Trickster, because to me they're still dealing with the Joker movie and all that stuff, and you know how DC is about their properties on TV and movies, so they can't cross streams on that stuff. I mean,
the reason why I think that they are is because the second half of it isn't coming out till beginning of next year, and I think that's going to include him because he'll be done with Star Wars, and like, this is what we've always wanted. This is much we wanted to see Kevin Conroy as an actual Batman.
Old man Batman versus old man freaking Joker. You think we're going to get that?
Bruh, let's go, bro.
I mean, that's going to be ratings gold right there. Now, you know what's going to be funny? It's going to be funny if they put that on the Batwoman episodes of the crossover.
I would. I mean, I definitely would.
I hope that show's good. I really hope, because that pilot did not do that show any favors whatsoever. It really didn't. And I'm hoping the show is good. I'm hoping it's just that. Because, I mean, I remember seeing the Arrow pilot, and that was a little bit of rough around the edges a little bit, even though I felt that Arrow pilot was better than the Batwoman pilot.
Yep.
I'm hoping that's just the jitters and they can move on. Yeah, man, this crossover is going to be interesting. In fact, the fact that they've added Black Lightning, I think that's going to be phenomenal and great. And if anything, so my boy Prime said it best. We're theorizing here. So we're thinking, what's to say that this crossover isn't a way, like, we were thinking that maybe Black Lightning takes place post-Crisis. Mm-hmm. Especially with the fact that they talked about Supergirl and Vixen and Black Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, well, maybe it is post-Crisis. But the fact that Black Knight is taking part, it's like that's going to be kind of interesting to see like how this all plays out. It's like the whole crossover is just ambitious as hell. I ain't gonna even lie. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, to be honest with you, one thing that they've always gotten right, in my personal opinion, has been these crossovers. The crossovers have always, to me, you know, no matter what season is good or bad, like they've always been able to cohesively work together. And it was like when they announced at the end of the last crossover that we're going Christ on Infinite Earth, and it was coming out this year, I was like, no way. And then they started like dropping bombs, and I was like, yo, this is going to be amazing. The funny thing is that some of the characters on different shows, like your boy Alan Richmond, he's Hawk on Titans. So it's like if they brought him in as Aquaman,
I mean, they were saying.
so random.
There's still that rumor that they were trying to bring
put
in
Titans on it.
Yeah, they were trying to bring in some of the DC Universe stuff into Crisis and stuff. I don't know how solid that is. It was funny because I remember when they announced Titans, I was thinking that was their way of putting Wally West in that show.
Yeah, I think that if your boy hadn't quit. For real, I think
quit,
he probably would have.
He's temp quit. He's just taking a break. That's what it sounds like. But yeah,
if he hadn't have done that, I think it probably would have worked out. Yeah. But he was like, you know what? I got my music career. I got my movie career. Bump y'all. I gotta go.
Yeah. I mean, but also too, we're getting Ryan Choi Adam too, which that makes me wonder: is he going to be in Flash? Or are they going to put him in another show? Who knows?
That's interesting.
Yeah, so this whole thing is very interesting in and of itself, man. It's ambitious as hell, man. It's just like every day is just like at this point I'm like, who else have they not gotten at this stage?
I mean, I really want them to. I think that your boy, what's the man's name, Michael Rosenbaum. Mm-hmm. I think that he's playing games. As a PR person, I would never go and tell somebody to be like, okay, yeah, it's a good idea for you to just bash that they're not going to include you. Because technically, he was the Flash and he was Lex Luthor. So I'm saying they could easily bring him as Wally West.
Yeah.
They could easily go and be like, okay, well, he said all that, but you know what? Because I think, matter of fact, what was it? When the Smallville finale came out, he had said that he wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
And he straight up lied and came back. Mm-hmm. And we all were excited about it. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of realm of possibility. There's a lot of money thrown around. And especially with this HBO Max situation going on, there's no telling, what they're going to have access to at this point.
Yeah, man. And it's definitely wild as hell. So I gotta ask you something here. I'm pretty sure you're gonna be at the screener, hopefully. So Joker drops very soon, and I'm keeping an open mind. I'm not gonna even try to sit there. Like I've had my reservations about the movie and stuff, so I'm going into this with an open mind and such. So there's a lot of. So I'm kind of annoyed more so at excuse me. Todd Phillips, and then when it comes to Joker, because I always feel that if you like when they made Joker, I was of the mindset that they should just put out the movie, don't even explain anything, just do it. Even if I have reservations, just put out your movie. And there was one line of note recently that they came out with, because Joker, as you know, me and Sam ain't gonna really dive into it because there's really nothing to really dive into on that end, on this end. A lot of people were expressing reservations that this could inspire, kind of cite some violence, so to speak, because of the subject matter, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. You guys are being cautious. I get it because of where we're at in this world right now, right? So Todd Phillips and them, they came out, and there was a line of note that kind of bugged me, but it solidified what I said, in that he basically said that they, when him and Joaquin were talking, they essentially, he was like, hey, I slid in a movie on the back door under the guise of a comic book movie. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting there like, I fucking knew that. I knew off break, because it's like, this movie just looks like it could be something else and it just felt like Joker was slapped on. And like I said, I'm all for like people doing their interpretation, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I'm just kind of, that's why I'm like, I'm trying to keep an open mind without like judging off in, because I'm sure Joaquin is going to be acting his ass off, and I'm fine with that. It's just, I don't know. Part of me feels that the movie I'm going to be feeling a little bit wanting, so to speak. So I don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind. I mean, what about you?
Man, when I first saw the first trailer, because what I do a lot of times, I compare my wife's perception of movies, and what she thinks of it, because she works in the guise of a consumer, a normal consumer, not a critic.
Yeah.
And so I let her watch the trailer. She was like, I ain't watching this. I was like, well, why, honey? And she was like, because he's actually a sick man. Like, he's not like, a cartoon character that's like, doing it for the heck of doing it, or doing it because it's funny. Like, no, he's doing it because he's an actual sick man. Like, he actually has a mental disorder. And because of that, that makes him so much more dangerous and makes it so much more realistic. And so for her, she doesn't want to see it because this is something that technically really could happen if somebody is mentally ill enough and put in a circumstance for this to happen. And a lot of people, don't even know, like, a lot of these shooters and things that happen come from people that have mental illness. It's just addressed in a totally different way, depending on who they are, what the nationality is, and what the background is. And so for her, she was like, I ain't trying to see it. And so for me, I looked at it, I was like, yo, this looks like Taxi Driver. This looks like something.
It's heavily inspired by Taxi Driver.
He's going to chew up, spit out, and it's going to be a amazing performance. But, what I'm saying? I was like, I'm not tied to this either, because I know this isn't going to be anything that we're going to see this Joker ever again. Like, it's not like, he's going to do a standout performance and then they're going to include him into the DCU. It's not going to happen. And so for me, I was like, this is a one-off movie. It's only going to be once. This is, Warner Brothers' way of being able to get them like an Oscar nom situation with a comic book style character. And I took it for what it was. And so I'm really excited for the movie. And I've always been, because I knew that from RIP. You know what I'm saying? It does suck that we still don't have like a Superman movie in the pipeline. We really don't have like a solidified Joker in the pipeline. It's just a lot of stuff that's thrown at the wall. But for this being an actual movie that's got like adult themes and stuff like that, I'm excited for it. But I think that people that have a discretion of caution, they're merited. And rightfully so, just from what my wife said. Like, this is an actual sick man. This is something that is very plausible depending on the circumstances of somebody's life. And so if you know that, don't go to the movie. It's that simple to me. Like, you don't have to go see every comic book movie. And this is unlike any other comic book movie probably that they've ever had. And I think that to that regard, like, if you know what this is going into it, or you're on the fence about it, then just don't go. You know what I'm saying? Know what you're going into, and, look at it for what it is. If it's a powerful performance and they have something to say with the story, then great. But don't look for this to be your classic Joker tale or anything that merits what you're looking for to continue the Joker legacy. That's not what this movie is. It never would.
Yeah.
It never would.
Yeah. So, yeah, more than anything, I'm just trying to, I guess I'm curious to see how they're going to implement, because like I said, I know they're doing this it's basically Taxi Driver with some dude that happens to be Joker, but I'm not expecting much out of it, but I don't know, we'll see how it plays out and stuff. It's just kind of funny that, all that's coming out and stuff. Did you see that first look for Superman Red Sun?
What, the pictures for it?
Yeah, the pictures.
Or was there an actual video?
I think it's like Steele's like Batman with the Russian hat on and Superman. It's like, it looks pretty interesting.
So I can't remember when it was. I feel like it was either 2018, beginning of 2018 or 2017. We had this interview with your boy Bruce Timm, and David. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, he took my headphone off, so I couldn't know. And I asked him an open-ended question. I was like, what would be, something that you would really like to actually see from this animated universe? There's so many different realms of possibility. I was like, personally, I would love to see like a Red Sun or like a Kingdom Come, or this or that. And he was like, well, one of those ones you picked is going to be what's coming. And then I was like, wait, what? Am I allowed to record this? And he was like, don't post this anywhere. And so I was like, all right, bet. I'm not going to say nothing. Then that night, this ninja goes and says, we're making a red sun. And I was like, oh, that's dirty, man. Yeah. And so I've been excited for this since he said it. I think it's going to be rated R, though. I'm just curious to see if they make a change like they did for Hush. Hopefully not. Hopefully they keep it just story-wise.
Hush was alright, but that change was kind of like, it was a bit different.
It was unnecessary change.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit different than norm and stuff. Yeah. So I've been enjoying this season of Titans, even though I felt the first episode could have easily been season 1 finale, but whatever. I would say this version of Deathstroke is actually pretty good so far.
Man,
I think Esai Morales has done a pretty good job playing a very subdued Deathstroke. I still like Deathstroke and Arrow, obviously, but I like this. It felt like this interpretation of Deathstroke is kind of sort of an extension of that one, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit and stuff, and I think it's actually pretty interesting. The suit looks actually pretty dope. His history with the Titans and all that stuff is pretty interesting in and of itself. I'm still sketchy on Robin a little bit just because he still feels slightly more prone to violence than what we know of Robin. And maybe they're still leaning heavy on his whole trying to get out from underneath Bruce kind of thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I definitely think that's what they're trying to. They're trying to, add a metamorphosis of him being Nightwing, and that was what he was supposed to end up being at the end of season 1, but they changed it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they even knew they were going to go past the second season, to be honest with you. But for me, as far as Deathstroke is concerned, this is the best live-action incarnation of Deathstroke I think I've seen, because there's something about this Deathstroke that even the one on Arrow didn't have, and that's the opportunity of working within the actual DC universe.
Yeah.
It's not like he's just secluded to Oliver Queen. Like, they can go so many different routes with him, and he feels so much more dangerous. The fact that he's still alive or not, like, in jail, and there's a Batman, there's, a Justice League that just letting this man roam makes, right there alone, makes him the most dangerous character I think I've seen. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like he's playing it perfectly. He's doing a great job with the performance. But in terms of Robin, I definitely think that they're trying to progress him to be something completely different, because he's nowhere near as violent as he was first season. I think he's been really reserved.
Yeah.
This season more so than any other. But it's like that flashback from episode 4. It's kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but I think that was kind of like the start of him going into this descent. And he's like, oh, they murked one of our guys. Oh, I know what I'm about to do.
Yeah, and I think that's what threw me off for a second. I was like, hold up, is this it clearly is a flashback because I was assuming that was like modern day, and I was like, but that doesn't make any sense. And I was like, oh, that's right, this is like a week later. Okay, that makes sense. So, like I said, I'm definitely, like I said, Titans, it has my attention. I'm going to be doing a Swamp Thing podcast at some point and stuff, because I feel that show was so good. I'm just mad that for whatever reason, they just decided to cancel it. Because the fact that they put everything and all the effort into that show, and it came out as good as it did, it's just, man.
Did you see that end credit scene?
That's what pissed me off. I'm like,
bruh,
why?
I was like, why y'all gonna even give me that? Like, I don't need to see that. Like, I was like, whoever's doing this, and I really do feel like this is all the HBO Max extension, because the fact is that Doom Patrol season 2 and Titan season 2 are going to be on HBO Max. They worked out some kind of deal, and it's just like, from a financial standpoint, I guess it just was not what HBO Max wanted. But it just, I don't know, man. The fact of how they even did it and canceling it the day of the premiering, I was like, this feels like Daredevil all over again. Like, man, why?
Well, I mean, it's funny. This is actually a pretty good segue and stuff. It was funny because apparently we heard about the fact that Hulu pulled the plug on Ghost Rider and stuff. And it came out now that apparently this is Disney and Marvel trying to keep everything. They basically want the quality to be the same. And that's the reason why, as far as we know, we only know about Hellstrom happening, obviously. But there's a reason why we haven't heard anything about Cloak and Dagger and Runaways coming up outside of beyond what they currently are filming and what they have upcoming, right? Because we already know Runaways and Cloak and Dagger are crossing over. So beyond past what they already filmed, apparently everything is going to be under the Marvel Studios banner going forward.
Yeah.
Which I get because, again, you want the quality to be there. But at the same time, it's like, man, Ghost Rider would have been dope. That would have been great and stuff. But, I mean, if they're really trying to do a movie, cool. You know, if they really feel they can do it, I guess.
It's the problem that I have with all of this is that characters that work under the guise of the Marvel Knights or like darker, grittier, grounded Marvel characters, I don't see them being facilitated within the Disney Plus platform. To me,
you can get away with PG-13 with I think PG-13 can be on Disney Plus, but you can only get away with so much.
Exactly. Like characters like the Punisher would not fit on a Disney Plus, but it's kind of like if you have Hulu that Disney is completely bought. And to me, it still doesn't make any sense that Marvel and Hulu would have problems if they are both owned by Disney. That's why that's all shenanigans to me. And I think that it would have been perfect if Hulu would have been like the place for these more adult things. Like if Cloak and Dagger ends up getting pushed to Hulu, that would make sense to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Bear in mind, folks, speculation. We're speculating. There's nothing solid in stone. So don't take this as Bible. This is what speculation is, but it feels, based on what we're seeing and stuff, it feels like it's leaning in the direction of they're trying to keep everything under one roof kind of deal.
Yeah. So, and it just, I'm kind of like, where does Deadpool fit in this? You know what I'm saying?
Deadpool's always going to fit. Let's be real about this. I saw the Deadpool PG-13 rating. It'll work. It works. You can do, like I said, if you ever saw that Ultimate Spider-Man episode.
Oh, I did.
With Deadpool. Hilarious. That works.
Because Will Friedle did that.
Yeah, and it works. That solidified right there. Oh, Deadpool can work. It can work. This is as long as, because you can easily cut away from him killing people, like with the blood and stuff, but you still emphasize, oh, he killed people. All right, cool. Like, you know, so you can get away with that with the extent. I think it's one of those things where they probably will use Hulu, but I think it's like, all right, if we're using Hulu, we want to make sure that the quality of all this is the same. So maybe they will use Hulu. Who knows? Maybe there's a reason why they are letting Hellstrom go the way to Hills, because maybe they are going to still use it and they just feel Hellstrom is good, but we want to use Ghost Rider for the movies. Maybe.
Yeah. I think that what'll be the thing that'll convince me that they are going to push stuff to Hulu is if Cloak and Dagger Season 3 gets confirmed for Hulu. Yeah. If like something like Daredevil gets put onto Hulu, because then that's a game changer. That makes complete sense to me. That would be something that's like, okay, let's see where this is actually going to go and let's maneuver that. Because now, like, there's so much they can do with Hulu. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much they can do with like a rated R or a darker themed Marvel show, and I think it'll still work in tandem together. It's just what they're going to have to also do is tie these things together, and I think that's where, like you said, it may be that Ghost Rider wasn't going to work within the world that they're building for Phase 4 with the Disney Plus, with the movies, and into Phase 5. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm hoping that we get some kind of confirmation, because Jeff Loeb, when Jeff Loeb left that letter, what was it, like maybe a year and a half ago, talking about, you know, the Defenders and how all the Defenders, he was like, you know what, well, just because Netflix said this is it, doesn't mean that these characters are gone. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, okay.
Which means that they can be used to different degrees now.
And so I was like, well, bet. Okay, then they did the Ghost Rider thing, and I was like, okay, eventually, a year from now or 2 years from now, we're going to get the Defenders on Hulu. Let's go. And so now I don't know, because if Disney is like, well, I want Daredevil to be with Spider-Man on this thing, then he's not going to have a series. It's not going to be the same exact actor. It's not going to be anything. So I don't know. It's so many different round possibilities. I just hope and pray that Disney listens to the fans and what they want, because that's the only reason why Gunn is back, and I think that's the only reason really why Spider-Man is even being fought for, because they know, one, that's what the fans want, and two, it's going to make them money. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So but yeah, lastly, so Star Wars, they put out some stuff regarding the Rise of Skywalker, and we finally got a good look at the Knights of Ren and what they're going to do in the movie. And we also got Kylo Ren and his cracked helmet being used again and stuff. I don't know how to make a Star Wars, to be honest, and stuff, because it's so many people feeling one way or the other about the franchise, and it's in trouble, and some people think it's in trouble, some people don't think it's in trouble, and I'm just ready for this shit to be over with so we can move on to this new trilogy, because I've enjoyed both movies, but I don't know, how people are going to take this third movie, because it just felt like these three movies have been nothing but people either A, complaining that the movies are too nostalgic, which, okay, I get it, or B, they're doing new stuff and it betrays this, and I'm like, okay, I guess, guys, what do you want? Just let them play out the story they played out, and just keep it moving. I don't know what you want, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the posters, like I said, the posters for it looks pretty dope. But like I said, just at this point, we're in the stage of just I'm just going to wait to see how this movie comes out, because it comes out later this year, right? December or something like that?
Yeah, it comes out in December.
Yeah, so I'm at a point right now, and I'm pretty sure you might be in the same boat, where I'm like, all right, let's just wait to see what this movie plays out. Just come out already so we can be done with it,
Yeah, I mean, this are my thoughts, man. People might not like my thought on it, but, bruh, y'all act like the prequels didn't happen. Some people are like, man, this is the worst Star Wars ever. And I'm like, bruh.
The prequels happened, dude. I mean, the prequels.
The Clone Wars? Because
I mean, there's a reason why the Clone Wars cartoon, thank God, they're finally going to do a legit last season for that show, which I think is dope. There's a reason why that Clone Wars cartoon was so well received, because it filled in all the blanks and plot holes of the movies.
Exactly. And it's like, when people start complaining to me about, what happened with The Last Stand, or the nostalgia of, The Force Awakens, I'm like, bro, I feel bad for the studio at certain points, because I'm like, they're either way, they can't win for losing, no matter what. It's just somebody just got to find something negative to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, bro, I've been enjoying this franchise, bro. I mean, we got a brother up in there. I mean, they did him dirty last movie. They kind of did him dirty.
I mean,
we got a brother out here in these streets, in a Star Wars movie, and he's technically a lead character. For better or worse, Star Wars is better than what we've had in the past 10 years, and nobody wants to accept that.
I mean,
and it's like,
I mean, you could say at most they dropped the ball on certain story elements, because and this is kind of a thing. This is a thing here that I noticed, and after rewatching it, if you notice out of all the movies, right, you can make the case that Finn is force sensitive.
Absolutely. I think that JJ set that up in the first movie. Absolutely.
You can make the case that what's his face? What's the dude's name? The pilot.
Poe Dameron.
Yeah, Poe Dameron. You can make the case that Poe Dameron is force sensitive because of how he flies that X-wing fighter and stuff.
Yeah.
You can make a case for those things, because that's a thing that's been in Star Wars mythology of people that are force sensitive. They don't necessarily have to wield a lightsaber, but they are force sensitive to a point. And I think that the only thing you can really knock the movies for is I wish that they leaned a little bit more into addressing that, instead of me as an audience member figuring that out to a point. But I don't know if that's what they wanted. I don't know. And it
Yeah, it's weird, because to your point with that, when they had that little boy, that was just some random spot, and then all of a sudden he goes and just uses the Force to grab the broom.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you did that, but you could have done that with the characters you already had.
Yeah, I mean,
they could have done the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, okay, Finn didn't die because something with the midichlorians in his... I mean, it was kind of like, even when Finn got his spine, like, zipped up from a guy staring lightsaber, I was like, wait, how is this Joker moving without, mechanical prosthetics? Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
I mean, he just got healed up in the medical thing, and I'm like, all right, that makes sense. I mean, it is the Star Wars universe where you can get healed up pretty quick inside of a tank, so fine, I'm cool with that,
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean, it is what it is and stuff. Like I said, I'm excited for it, but
yeah, I am too.
And also, they got so that Obi-Wan TV show, they got this the Mandalorian director, was it Deborah Chow? She's going to be doing the Obi-Wan spinoff movie.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Mandalorian. Actually, that's another thing. Like, these TV shows, man. Ever since the Game of Thrones came out, TV shows now are movie quality.
Dude, that piece that they showed online of the Mandalorian, I'm like, that looks very movie quality.
It is.
It looked kind of like Rogue One in terms of the visual style of it.
Yeah, it really
like
did.
That very dirty, like that dirty style, kind of like also Solo.
Yeah. Oh man, we can't bring up Solo.
No, I'm bringing up Solo. Put it this way, I love Solo. I enjoy it. I bought it I got the steelbook of it. I enjoyed that movie as a side story. The fact that they're teasing that they might do some more stuff with that world involving like Darth Maul and all that stuff, I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, even with the Obi-Wan thing, I mean, they can definitely tease in a lot of I love Star Wars Rebels. I would like to see a variation of that Obi-Wan Darth Maul fight from that episode.
And first off, in Solo, the only reason why they even put that scene in there is because of the they were going to be setting up the Obi-Wan movie. And now that we're in the Obi-Wan series, they gotta.
They can definitely leap off that. Because like I said, if you watch... If folks... Okay, so in Star Wars Clone Wars, Darth Maul, him and his brother, they were kind of going around getting revenge on the Jedi. They killed Obi-Wan's new apprentice. And... basically, they were kind of gaining power, and the Emperor was not having it. Because as with anything with Sith, if one of your Sith people gets a lot of power, eventually they're going to come to kill you. So yeah, he basically put a kibosh to that. And one of those things is that Darth Maul essentially gained power by assimilating the Mandalorians under him.
Yep.
So... and eventually when we pick back up in Rebels, he doesn't have that anymore because of what happened with the Emperor, but he kind of was able to escape and do his own thing or be in exile for a while. But at any point, eventually he figures out that Obi-Wan is protecting somebody, and, he figures out, he's protecting the two kids of Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
And then him and Obi-Wan have a very quick, 2-minute fight in Rebels, and, Obi-Wan takes him out and stuff. So I'm hoping that this movie actually does an extension of that. It makes Darth Maul kind of like the overarching figure a little bit and stuff. I'm hoping that's the case. So
yeah.
So yeah. But thanks Sam for jumping on here. I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I hate kind of sitting on this kind of information and then not talking about it for a while and stuff. So this was a very quick and to the point kind of episode. Only an hour. It's kind of very shocking.
Yeah, we definitely talked about a lot. But I mean, I think everything is newsworthy at this point. Mm-hmm. And now going into San Diego Comic-Con, there's no telling what's going to come up.
Well, you're going to New York Comic-Con, so I'm expecting some stuff maybe dropping off there too. So
yeah, it's a possibility.
Have fun, sir, because I'm not going.
I was like, wait, y'all not going?
I can't, it's funny. I'm not the only person. There's a couple other people from other outlets that just opted not to go because it just felt like there's nothing worthwhile there. And also the fact that they changed up so much stuff. Like if you're a press person, you actually have to pick up your badge instead of them mailing it to you, which I think was whack. But I don't know if this is them trying to prevent, fraud or anything like that. I don't know. So whatever. It's like, what can you do?
thankfully this year they mailed. Thankfully this year.
Well, they said this year you had to pick them up and stuff apparently.
Nah, they mailed it to me. I got my joint.
I guess maybe they. I don't know. Unless it's just this year they decided to do that. Next year they changed up. I don't know. So it's whatever.
I'm gonna try to see if I can meet Billy D. Williams, bro. If I can meet him and interview him, I'll let you know.
Good luck on that one. That's a huge get, man. But yeah, that's it. You want to plug in your stuff for your show before we dip out?
Oh yeah, definitely. You guys, you can check us out everywhere. Go to YouTube, just type in Team JVS. That's 2 words. If you want to go check us out on Twitter, it is tweet_JVS. You can definitely check me out as well on Twitter. It's Super SEL030. And yeah, we're gonna have a lot of content coming as far as interviews and discussions. And on top of that, we got a superhero mini series that's gonna be dropping. Probably the first 5 episodes by November, so stay tuned for that. More details later.
Dope. Well, all right then, folks. Well, we will catch you later. Hopefully, I can get Sam back on. We can talk about some Swamp Thing and stuff, and hopefully also talk about some Titans and other stuff.
Yes,
also, hopefully I can get you back on. We can talk about Young Justice the rest of season 3, because that was a fucking dope season finale for that show. So. But anyways, folks, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace, y'all.